Right now, if you've ever tapped a card or a phone to get through a train gate, you didn't think twice about it. It's a completely ordinary, modern habit. But in 2024, that exact same simple tap stopped working for millions of people across London, costing £29 million in damages and forcing 27,000 employees to physically walk into an office just to reset their passwords. And it wasn't carried out by an elite foreign military cyber unit. It was done by two teenagers in two separate bedrooms who had never met face to face. The question is, how did they pull off one of the worst cyber attacks in British history without writing a single line of hacking code? And how did investigators end up with a case against one of them within days, while the other stayed a step ahead for nearly a year? Meet Talha Jubair from a council flat in Bow, East London, and Owen Flowers from Walsall in the West Midlands. They knew each other only through Telegram messages and a shared online workspace, part of a loose, English-speaking hacking network known as Scattered Spider. Here's the thing about Scattered Spider that makes them different from the hackers you're picturing. They're not breaking encryption. They're not writing malware in a dark server room. Their playbook runs on something much simpler, a phone call. Sometime between the 31st of August and the 3rd of September 2024, someone connected to the group contacted a help desk inside Transport for London, posing as an employee who'd lost access to their account. That's the entire way in. A convincing story, and a support worker just trying to do their job. Think about that. The largest cybercrime prosecution in UK history didn't start with genius-level code. It started with someone answering the phone. Once they had that access, Jubair and Flowers moved quietly, using TfL's own internal tools rather than planting anything that would trigger a security alert. They weren't breaking in loudly, they were blending in. By then, they held what prosecutors would later call the keys to the kingdom, the highest level of access inside TfL's systems. Enough, prosecutors said, to have shut the network down completely. But blending in didn't last. Chat logs later showed the two of them discussing wanting to nuke access, and by September 3rd, TfL realized someone unauthorized had reached deep into their network. To stop it from getting worse, TfL did something drastic. They pulled the plug on their own systems. That single decision is what turned a quiet intrusion into a citywide emergency. Contactless payment accounts froze. Applications for young people's transport photo cards were suspended. Dial-a-Ride, the service thousands of elderly and disabled Londoners rely on to get around, went down. 148 internal systems stopped working. And every one of TfL's 27,000 employees had to show up in person because their passwords couldn't be reset any other way. One of the busiest transit authorities on Earth had been knocked back to pen and paper by two people who'd never even met. Officers moved on Owen Flowers first. Just 3 days after the attack ended, they raided his home. They didn't need to break any encryption or reconstruct deleted files. They found a laptop with a screenshot of the connection straight into TfL's network and video recordings. Flowers had actually live-streamed Jubair accessing TfL's systems, while the two of them messaged about it on Telegram at the same time. He'd broadcast his own crime in real time and kept the footage. He was arrested that day and released on bail. Talha Jubair was a different story. For close to a year, investigators worked to build a case against him, tracing the cryptocurrency wallet tied to the group's other ransom attacks across the UK and the US. Jubair had used funds from that same wallet to buy gift vouchers, and at some point, he used one of those vouchers on something completely unremarkable, a food delivery. That ordinary decision helped tie his identity to the wallet, and the wallet to the crimes. When it was eventually seized, it held $36 million. In September 2025, roughly a year after the attack, Jubair was arrested, and Flowers was brought back into custody alongside him. Sit with that for a second. A hacking network linked to more than 100 intrusions and well over $100 million in ransom demands worldwide, including attacks on major UK retailers and US healthcare providers. And one of its central figures stayed out of reach for almost a year, only to be tracked down in part because he got hungry. In June 2026, both men pleaded guilty. In July, at Woolwich Crown Court, Thalha Jubair and Owen Flowers were each sentenced to 5 years and 6 months in prison, the first people ever successfully prosecuted under this specific, most serious section of the UK's Computer Misuse Act. Sentencing them, Mr. Justice Turner said their actions had been driven by selfish bravado, heedless of the consequences to others. So here's the full picture. Two teenagers who'd never met in person brought down part of London's critical infrastructure with nothing more than a phone call and a support worker who trusted the wrong voice. Evidence against one of them was sitting on a laptop within days, thanks to his own live-streamed footage. Building the case against the other took almost a year, until a completely routine purchase connected him to a wallet holding millions. In the end, they were brought into custody together. The next time you tap your card to get through a gate, or call your own company's IT desk to get locked back into your account, remember this: the systems we trust every day aren't usually broken by genius. They're broken by someone on the other end of a phone call.